All right, everybody, this is Sheets, and this is going to be my preview of the MMA slate for this coming week. As you may or may not know, I did very, very poorly in the finals of the MMA King of the Hill, which was very disappointing. It was a very, very tough card, as I mentioned it. There's a whole bunch of pick'em fights, and I had one lineup to play, and I just did not pick the right combinations. That's the way it goes, and moving on to the next slate. So we already have a little bit of drama in that David Dvorak was supposed to fight Tapia, and Tapia, it's not Tapia. Tapia is going to be the chalk on the Rockies tonight. In any case, Paiva, he was scratched for missing a weight cut, actually for exhaustion and attempting to make a weight cut. So they replaced him with Ronderos, and as it goes, they can't change the DraftKings salary. And so what you have is you have Dvorak at 8,800, which is usually right around where a 2-to-1 favorite is priced. And he's actually, with his new opponent, is going to be about a 4-to-1 favorite. So there's an incredible amount of just built-in win equity, which makes Dvorak very, very, very difficult to fade. Now, there are some narratives that you might end up, learning about, which, hey, who knows, maybe it is worth fading. Apparently, his opponent is someone who he trains with. He has pictures with him on Instagram. So it's possible that, let's just say, Dvorak does not go for the throat, so to speak. So I don't know what kind of upside Dvorak has as far as winning a tournament, but with the win equity, it's obviously going to be a pretty good play. I have to do a little more digging to see if I want to play him in the GPPs with what could be, again, just, I don't want to say a fixed fight, but just kind of like, just messing around for 15 minutes with your friend on the mat and, getting an easy decision that won't win anybody anything. So I have to look into more of that. Let's look at some of the key fights, and then I'll talk about some underdogs maybe as well. The fights that rate to score the best, they either have a good finish or, a good inside the distance prop, or you have those guys with grappling upside, things like that. We are going to start with the main event. I mean, the main event, it is 5 rounds, and it's got a good inside the distance prop. It is about a pick 'em to finish in under 2.5 rounds. And again, the reason why that's a good thing to target in GPPs is, number one, you get points if if it finishes in the first 2 rounds. And the thing is that with a 5-round fight, you have that floor that even if it doesn't finish in the first 2 rounds, you get 5 rounds of possible points. And that's why these fights are very difficult to fade, and which is why the algorithm is kind of broken with fights like this. I'm hearing a lot of Font being just clearly a better play here. But if that's the case, I don't know exactly why it's a pick 'em fight. So I'm a little bit suspicious on the Font side. I haven't really found a single tout, a single content provider that will tell me that Garbrandt's a great play, and yet the fight is still pick 'em. And I've seen enough in my day to know that there's something probably fishy in the air. So if I had to pick a side, I would probably, for lack of any other reason aside from that, I would go with Garbrandt. I am going to probably pick both of them in the GPPs. I'll probably have a lot of both of them. But I do think that in my main lineup, if I do want, I am going to play Garbrandt. I think he's going to be much lower owned given his probably his win chances. Next key fight with respect to, inside the distance is going to be this Bruno Silva fight. I mean, it does rate to almost finish in the first round and a half, and Bruno Silva is a huge, huge favorite. So this is probably the most likely guy you're going to want to put in your lineup. Now, he's kind of expensive, and we'll look at some pricing in a minute, but that's certainly just kind of get the combination of everything there. Then you also have Ben Rothwell. This is kind of a clown fight. Ben Rothwell's fighting this like 350-pound guy who was called on at short notice. He's probably going to kill him. He's a 3.5-to-1 favorite, and again, a really strong inside the distance prop. I mean, these are 2 guys that you're probably just going to want. Yes, there are paths for him to fail, and he could just kind of, again, just have a nice, boring heavyweight fight. But I just think it's just way too likely that well, let's stay way too likely. The math supports going with Rothwell here in the GPP. So Silva and Rothwell seem to be the two most likely winners, and with the good inside the distance prop. Then you have other fights like this one, which is the Hermansson-Shabazian fight, which is a pretty good inside the distance prop, but we're not exactly sure who's going to win. So this is one that you were going to want to target both sides. And the good thing is they both have good paths to victory, given their various styles. Like Shabazian's going to try to go that first round knockout. So if that works, if he wins, he's going to score huge. And Hermansson, he can win a lot of different ways. He's got takedown upside, grappling upside. So he can get there as well. So this is a fight that you're going to want to take both sides. This next one, Tafa Vandera. All right, this is another good inside distance prop. And you probably want to take both sides of this one as well. Vandera has some takedown upside. So even though the majority of the inside the distance prop is based on Tafa's knocking him out, I think that Vandera is worth a shot also. And those are really the key fights that I want to kind of target here. The rest of these fights really do rate to go the distance, so you really want to avoid them. Like, just for example, let's just go through this. So Ismagulov, it's big favorite, but huge favorite to go the distance here. Then you have, well, this one might not be that bad. No, even this one's just okay, the Hadovich fight. Kulabau is probably a big favorite, but again, it's just not a really good inside the distance prop. This Court McGee fight, again, pretty bad. Algio might get some ownership, but again, likewise, you really want to target the fights that have the good inside the distance props. Two other fighters that I want to address here, and then we'll just look at pricing for a minute, are two fighters with good takedown upside. So even though you don't have a good inside the distance prop on these next two fighters, you have other paths to victory aside from that can make them score well. And they're both women. One is Felicia Spencer. I think she has a very, she could really swarm Dumont like this whole fight, get a lot of control time, a bunch of takedowns. And I think that even though she doesn't have a good inside the distance prop, I think she's probably a good GPP play. And likewise, Carla Esparza, she's literally a pure wrestler, and she'll get a takedown, Jan will get up, Carla will get a takedown, Jan will get up. And what's good about Esparza is that she might be my favorite underdog play, because she is someone that can actually who could actually score well in a loss. I mean, we saw that last week with Mizana. She even though that she got knocked out in the second round, she got 55 fantasy points, which is just fine. Well, it wouldn't be fine for her because she was 9,200. That's the thing. But Carla Esparza at under 8K, if she gets a bunch of takedowns, control time, and ends up losing anyway, she could still get 50, 60 fantasy points, which is going to be just fine at her price. So those are the fighters that I'm kind of targeting. And let's just take a look at some of these pricings. So I saw that Font and Garbrandt, as you see, I mean, not only do you get that 5-round floor, but it's a close fight, so you get good pricing. Esparza, as I mentioned, good 7,600 fighter. Vandera, I mentioned, good long shot there at 7,200. Spencer might be a pay up, but might make her low owned as a result. I think Algio Ramos is going to be the fight that I fade that might come up to get me, just because the pricing is so favorable, but the inside the distance prop is just no good. Hermansson, Shabazian, I already mentioned that one. Rothwell to pay 9,200 is going to be tough, but I think you're going to want to play either and both, either Rothwell or Bruno Silva. Those are the two 9,200 guys, and I already identified a bunch of 7Ks that you could throw in there. I would avoid the Court McGee 8K fight with or 8K 8,200 fight with Silva. I just don't think that the winner scores enough, even though the 8K price tag is really good. And another one that might come back to get me is this Kulabau fight. He can knock Shilian out, but just unfortunately the inside the distance prop just doesn't support that assertion. So I am rather going to go with the Silva and Rothwell. The only question is what am I going to do with this Dvorak thing? Because the win odds are just so strong that it's kind of tough to fade. Yet again, I don't know if it's got that upside. I just want to check something real quick. I just do want to check this Bruno Silva. Inside the distance prop, because I don't think it was that good, but yeah, actually it was. Okay, that should be it. It should be an easy card for you to make lineups. Not that it's an easy card to win, but I think I've highlighted a lot of the key fighters and the key spots to attack. That's it. Ooh, keep in mind 4 p.m. post time tomorrow for the MMA slate. Good luck and have a good one.